Assalamualaikum and konnichiwa. Thank you for joining today's episode of Academy Speaking with me, Azalia. And in today's episode, we will be talking about unexpected hurdles and obstacles in your PhD journey. And doesn't necessarily have to apply to just a PhD journey, but also can be applied to any journey of writing a dissertation or anything of the sort. The reason why I have this topic in mind is simply because I have officially started my third and final year of PhD since it's April, and the semester begins in April in Japan. So you'd think that by third year you would have most of the things figured out, and that's what I thought too. But then I was pretty surprised at the amount of obstacles and amount of problems that I ran into that I didn't think I'd have to run into because it's already third year. Yeah, I think it's something that you guys can think about or reflect on so that you don't have to end up like me and face these obstacles and hurdles. The word unexpected here is key because before you start a graduate school journey, there are already the hurdles and obstacles that you are already prepared in your mind to face, that you have already foresee will come, like having difficulty writing long pages or with your language, or trying to find people to join your research, those kinds of things. You already foresee it coming from a mile away. But unexpected obstacles are things that you didn't think would actually happen, and it's just you never think you'd actually have to go through something like that, like a global pandemic. So the first unexpected obstacle that I'm going to talk about happened to me just yesterday. Yes, just yesterday. And it's about losing data. When you read PhD books, when you read anything about starting a project, they always tell you to back it up. Back it up. Whatever you do, have it in a hard drive, have it in an email, have it in a cloud, have it everywhere so that in the case that anything happens, you have a backup. And yeah, it's a rookie mistake, and for 3 years now it has never happened to me, and I can't figure out how or when or why, and that's why it's unexpected that it actually happened to me yesterday with my Excel file. I've had logged in a lot of data on my students' progression, their scores, all their attitude surveys, and it's quite different from my main data source. It was a new file that I was creating, but it was still it took quite a while for me to key in everything. And I always had all my Microsoft files are linked to my OneDrive, and they're all automatically uploaded into my OneDrive, and that's why for almost 3 years now, I've had no problem at all, because I knew that it was always going to be safe there. So the unexpected thing that happened was the unexpected thing that I did not expect was that actually the internet in my university somehow got disconnected somewhere when I wasn't inside the office, and the files didn't upload. And not only didn't so it's okay if the files didn't upload because you can still have the file there, right? But the thing is, my Excel went haywire somewhere in the middle of the night. I don't know why. And after reading a lot of discussion threads on the internet, it's actually quite common for your Excel files to just suddenly disappear, and that's what happened. My Excel file disappeared, and the internet connection was somewhere disconnected, and because of that the file wasn't uploaded into my OneDrive, and the file was gone. I did try to recover lost files. They do have this function, but they only had the first original file, which wasn't the latest one that I'd done, which was already like 3, 4, 5 sheets of everyone's scores and pages. They only had the original file where I only had the students' names. And yes, very sad, very sad. Yeah, and that happened yesterday. I'm still trying to think about. I mean, I'm glad that it's not that major. It's just gonna push me back a little bit with my timing. But you know, to think that if that happened with any other data, would have been just a catastrophe, I tell you. So moral of the story is, yes, back up your data in also a hard drive, because you don't know if the Excel files will disappear or something. I didn't know what happened, because you don't know if the internet will suddenly get disconnected and files cannot be uploaded, because you don't know a lot of things that might or can happen. So take that precaution, especially if that data is crucial to your study, and not being able to get it back can really push back your research. So back up your data. Moving on to the second unexpected obstacle or problem or hurdle that you might face. In my case, also happened to me in the past week. Yes, all of this is happening this week, just before I'm starting my third year, which is data that does not add up, or missing data. Now this is different from just now, which was losing data. This is about missing data or losing data that is crucial to your research. The reason why research proposals are very important is because that is the time where you fine-tuned everything, where you have actually, the research proposal is in essence already your chapter 1, your chapter 2, and your chapter 3 all done, all solid, and the only thing left is to carry it out. Okay, you have to have all those 3 really concrete, and you have everything laid out. But the thing with 3-year PhD programs is that you have a very short time frame to actually fine-tune every single detail, because everything is going on so fast. You only have a couple of months to make sure your proposal is solid. Then by the second year, you already have to conduct the research, and by third year, which is now, you're supposed to be already writing everything. So it's very easy to overlook certain things that you wouldn't have noticed. So when I was amidst of writing my chapter 3, I realized that I had some data that were missing, or simply saying there are some things that I forgot to do, and some things that I did do but I didn't do it properly, or I didn't do it the right way. Okay, I'm just making excuses for myself. Okay, I screwed up. Yeah, I had missing data, and it was really disheartening at first, and it was actually the reason why I wanted to do this video in the first place, to talk about it. Because when I realized that there was some problems with my instrumentation, but I can't fix it because I've already conducted the study, I've already got my results, I've already got my data, and there's no way of really fixing it. And I was just stuck because I was thinking, like, how did I overlook this? How is this happening? And it took a lot of reading, a lot of screening through a lot of websites, a lot of journals, for me to actually find not exactly a loophole, but actually a way that I can still use the data in my study without having to, have it compromised or whatever. But at that moment, to be honest, I really felt like the world was over. I really felt like this couple of 2 years was just a waste, because it doesn't matter now because of that thing I didn't do. After crying it out and just screaming all about it, I sat down as usual, calm, collected myself, and I thought that I could not be the only one in this world who has ever gone through this. There must be other students, other researchers who have also gone through the same thing, and I'm sure they found a way, and I just need to find them and see how they figured it out so that I can figure it out. And it worked. I did find someone who was able to justify why my data was missing, or why something wasn't done the way it should have been doing. And I was just so happy after that. And I was really glad, because it's at those crucial times that you really find yourself questioning your morale, your ethics of research. Because for some people, it can be so easy for them to say, you know what, I'll just make something up. I'll just say it's it's all right. Nobody will know. It's so easy to just slip on that slope and go there. But holding on to your ethics, your morale of research, and knowing that no, we have to be reliable, we have to make sure everything is sound and do it the right way, even though yes, I'm sure this is going to be questioning me in my defense, for sure, but you know what, at least your credibility as a researcher is there, and you don't have to live with feeling bad about forging stuff in your research. So that one's a bit lengthy, but yeah, when dealing with missing data or data that doesn't add up, don't give up. The third unexpected obstacle or problem you might face during your PhD journey is more of a mental state rather than a physical thing like the first two ones. Things can be happening in your life that you have no control over, but nonetheless it can affect your productivity. It can affect how you're dealing with your research. It can be things like going through a breakup, or going through a pregnancy, going through labor, or what's going on in the world right now, facing a pandemic where you are always worried and you're not sure if you're going to be okay, if your loved ones are going to be okay. So you don't know when or how or where these things will happen, but they do happen and they are happening. So how you deal with it, with these unexpected emotions, is also very important. If you've seen on Twitter, especially on the academic Twitter, academic chatter part of it, a lot of people, or most researchers, are really talking about how they're not being able to be productive during these research times. Or the productivity part, I guess you can force yourself to be productive. I mean, in all honesty, even for myself, during the first couple of weeks where Japan had one of the highest counts in the COVID-19, I was very anxious. I made a whole video about it where I just felt like I couldn't think about anything else other than my safety, and I couldn't think about anything else other than my health, and everything else didn't seem to matter. And no matter how I tried to force myself to sit down in front of the computer and write my paper, I just didn't feel like it was worth doing for a while. So if that is how you are feeling, if that's the mental health that you are going through, then it's highly recommended that you do deal with those feelings first. You can see a lot of people giving support, saying that it's okay to not be productive right now. It's okay to not feel like you want to do research right now during these trying times. So really deal with those emotions before you get back to research, because if not, having that bubbling feeling underneath is just going to create more anxiety and depression, and just going to leave you into a deeper and darker hole. So it's the same even if it's not in this pandemic situation. Like I said, maybe death of a loved one, or facing hormones. It's really hard to suppress them and just say no, I'm not going to deal with it right now, I'm going to deal with my research. It's really hard to ignore them. Deal with it head on, and don't be afraid of it, because I was, to be honest, I was afraid of it, and I was just thinking I'm just gonna go to school, just go to research, regardless, even though this pandemic is happening, that everything is fine meme that everyone likes. It's kind of like that kind of situation. After dealing with it and after coming to terms with it was when I really felt that I could really go back to writing my thesis and doing my research. So those are some of my experiences regarding unexpected obstacles and hurdles currently during my PhD third year journey. I hope you found them helpful, or even at least know that someone else in this world is also sharing your problem, and that you are not alone. And that's it for today's video. I hope wherever you are that you are staying safe and doing your best in whatever it is you're doing. And do let me know if there's anything else that you want to know about being a student. in Japan. Alright, assalamualaikum.